Welcome to this explainer. Right off the bat, our animated Stickman SaaS founder is looking completely panicked, and honestly, for a very good reason. We are in the middle of a massive, urgent crisis in software monetization right now. It's like this silent margin killer creeping up on every single founder, product manager, and finance team. You either face it, or you literally risk losing the whole shebang. If you've been relying on the old rules of software pricing, well, throw them out. Everything is about to change.
So we got to ask the elephant in the room question right up front. Is traditional per-seat SaaS pricing officially dead? For 2 decades, charging a flat fee per user, that was the absolute gold standard, right? Super predictable, easy to scale, and investors absolutely ate it up. But in this new era of AI, we're watching the structural collapse of that headcount-aligned model. The old standard is going obsolete fast, and if businesses don't adapt, the fallout is going to be brutal.
Okay, let's dive into this because the data is absolutely staggering. Single-dimension, seat-only pricing models are currently suffering a 2.3 times higher churn rate compared to usage-based or hybrid models. Think about that for a second. More than double the churn. If you're stubbornly sticking to a flat fee per user, your customers are over twice as likely to just pack up and abandon your platform. No way around it. That's a massive red flag.
To understand why this is happening, we have to look at the macroeconomic squeeze that's driving this whole crisis. On one side, average software costs have just skyrocketed, rising up to 13.5% recently. But on the flip side, corporate IT budgets are crawling along at a tiny 2.8% growth. So what happens? CFOs start cracking down. They're aggressively auditing seat utilization, and they are absolutely done paying for inactive shelfware. Now, what's really fascinating is the sheer speed of this market shift. Over just a 12-month window, the market share for flat-rate subscriptions plummeted from 29% down to 22%, and at the exact same time, pure per-seat pricing dropped from 21% to 15%. I mean, this isn't some slow, gradual transition. It's a rapid, wholesale market rejection of the old ways of doing business. But, budget cuts? That's really only half the story. The true villain for legacy pricing models is AI. AI has permanently destroyed the idea of zero marginal cost software. Back in the day, adding one more user to a traditional SaaS database cost you basically nothing. But with AI, every single token processed, every prompt generated, every API call, it all burns highly expensive GPU compute power.
To put this into perspective, consider what Jacob Jackson, he's the co-founder of Supermaven and an ML leader at Cursor, has to say. He hits the nail on the head. When you receive $10 from the customer, you can't just spend 10 cents on AWS. GPUs are expensive and they have a real footprint in electricity and heat. You literally have to price relative to the value delivered and the actual resources consumed. Because if a customer runs, say, 1,000 AI agents under a $20 flat subscription, you aren't making money. You're actually heavily subsidizing their business.
And this makes the risk incredibly visceral. Look at the traditional SaaS model. Our little Stickman friend is safe, happy, enjoying zero marginal costs and completely predictable margins. But the AI SaaS model? That Stickman is sweating bullets. If your users go viral internally and start using your AI features nonstop, your compute costs are going to skyrocket straight through the roof, while your subscription revenue stays totally flat. Here's where it gets really scary. If you try to absorb those variable AI costs inside a traditional flat subscription, you're looking at 40% lower gross margins for your AI products. 40%! That is a straight-up death sentence for your unit economics. You simply cannot afford a scenario where your most active, successful users suddenly become your biggest, most unprofitable liability.
Okay, deep breath, don't panic just yet, because there is a solution, and it's quickly becoming the ultimate peacemaker for finance teams and customers alike. Enter the hybrid pricing model. This is the exact architecture that the most successful SaaS and AI companies are scrambling to adopt right now. It saves their margins while keeping their customers totally happy. Let's clearly define what this actually is. Hybrid pricing basically separates access from consumption. It combines a fixed recurring fee, usually like a platform or base subscription, with variable charges that scale based on actual product usage or AI activity. So this guarantees you a predictable revenue floor. But, and this is key, it keeps the upside wide open. When customers use the product more, they get more value and you get more revenue. Win-win, right? Let's break down exactly why this approach is so much better. With pure flat-rate pricing, sure, you get highly predictable business revenue, but customer fairness is pretty low, hello, shelfware, and your margin protection against AI costs is dangerously weak. Now, flip it to pure usage-based pricing. It's super fair, and it protects your margins, but your revenue becomes incredibly volatile. Hybrid pricing perfectly threads the needle. You get a predictable floor, plus limitless upside, really high customer fairness, and rock-solid margin protection.
And the market has totally caught on to this, leading to a massive adoption surge. In just 12 months, hybrid pricing adoption jumped from 27% to 41%. And we're not just talking about developer tools anymore. This idea is spreading like wildfire across CRM, collaboration software, service management, creative tools. It's rapidly becoming the new default standard.
So, the crucial takeaway is the specific number, 21%. Companies that utilize hybrid pricing models achieve a 21% median revenue growth rate. They are actively outperforming the guys using pure subscription or pure usage approaches. Why? Because when your revenue scales automatically as your customers grow, you don't need to send a sales rep in to negotiate every single expansion. It just happens. Now that we've covered the why, let's shift into the blueprint phase. How exactly do you build the anatomy of a hybrid pricing model in practice? I'll tell you right now, it's not as simple as just slapping an overage fee onto an invoice. You really need a modular architecture to make this work.
These are your essential building blocks. First, you start with a base platform fee. That covers core access and gives you that sweet predictability. Next, you introduce usage metering for things like API calls, data processed, or tokens used. A lot of companies are also using credits or token pools, which gives users a set amount of credits per month, and extra charges only kick in when they burn through that buffer. And finally, you can always layer on add-on tiers for your premium features.
Industry titans are actually putting this into action brilliantly. Take OpenAI, for example. They use fixed monthly tiers for ChatGPT, but completely separate token-based billing for their API. Or Vercel. They charge a $20 base per seat, but then meter compute and bandwidth, cleverly using a $20 credit buffer to smooth out the user experience. Cursor uses a monthly subscription, where premium AI model usage just deducts from a pool of credits. They modularize their pricing beautifully.
Let's move on and see how this builds into a practical transition plan for your own business, without causing massive bill shock for your users. If you're currently on a legacy flat rate plan, step 1 is auditing your customer data to find revenue leakage. Who are those heavy users burning all your compute? Step 2, choose your value metric really carefully, whether that's tokens, outcomes, or API calls. Step 3, set that predictable base platform fee. And step 4, gently layer the usage components onto your existing subscriptions rather than forcing some chaotic overnight overhaul.
I do have to give you a quick warning, though. Actually, maybe a major warning. Executing this transition isn't just a marketing update. It presents a very serious billing infrastructure challenge. Let's be real. Most legacy billing systems were built to charge a credit card the exact same amount on the first of every single month. They simply weren't built to handle the dynamic, high-speed needs of the AI era. Those legacy systems, they rely on basic subscription gateways and manual updates. To pull off a true hybrid model, you need a modern billing engine. We're talking real-time event ingestion that can track millions of API calls or tokens in literal milliseconds. You need dynamic credit wallets that automatically burn down as users consume AI features, plus a unified ledger to keep your finance team from pulling their hair out. Without this heavy-duty back-end execution, you are risking massive billing errors and serious revenue leakage.
Finally, we can't forget about the other side of the table, the enterprise buyer. While hybrid pricing is a total lifesaver for vendors, it definitely creates a procurement headache for buyers. Think about it. One single application now has multiple cost drivers: seat licenses plus AI credits, API volume, compute overages. Procurement teams can't just multiply seats by a flat rate anymore. They have to model for seasonality and internal AI adoption curves, making spend forecasting significantly harder. So if you're selling hybrid software, you absolutely must provide your buyers with incredible visibility and control over their spend, or they'll churn just out of pure frustration.
Which brings us to our final, critical question for this explainer. I want you to really look at your own unit economics. Are your pricing margins actually surviving the AI era, or are you secretly bleeding cash on every single power user? The market has spoken, the data is crystal clear, and this massive transition is already underway. It is time to evolve your strategy and embrace the hybrid model. Audit your metrics today and make absolutely sure your business is built for the future. You've got this.